Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti. The state of self-realization. Because he explains what is that state, which is beyond the conditioned states of waking, dream, and deep sleep. However, that unconditional state we cannot understand. Since we cannot understand, we need to put in more effort to understand. That's what it means. We cannot understand means immediately you say, oh, then close the book and go. It's not like that. It's like you tell a child, you cannot understand quantum mechanics. That means what? It's not that he can never understand. He has to study basic education and then come to this, primary, secondary, high school, university, undergraduation, post-graduation. There he will be able to understand better. So that's what it means. Which means you have to put in effort to understand. So it says that consciousness, the pure consciousness, which is the substratum of the microcosm and macrocosm. Microcosm, individual, macrocosm, world. For both, it's the same substratum, he says. And what happens to that person who merges into that pure consciousness? What is happening to him internally is what he is giving now. His intrinsic being. So, a self-realized person merges with that pure consciousness. And once he merges with that pure consciousness, which we cannot understand, since he has merged with that pure consciousness, we cannot understand him also. Precisely. But we can have a lot of indications for us to recognize it. How that state could be. Taking the cues from the scriptures, he is explaining various points, all stated in the Upanishads. He has given various points here, and he gives about 5 points here. These 5 points are just indications, remember. They are not going to be defining him. Right? These are just to give us a triggers to think, thereby to get inspired to move in that direction. Now, this is the same thing he did in the introduction part also. Part A, introduction, if you see, the last section, he gave few points for us to study our personality under the topic personality chart. Same way, in section 2, practical Vedanta, in the concluding chapter, again he is giving few indications for us. Now he is giving 5 points. Now these 5 points we use to study not about him, keeping him as a reference point, we study where we stand. So this is only for our introspective analysis. So first level of analysis we do with the personality chart. I think we did it last year. Right? And I have told you people also to prepare the chart. I don't know how many of you prepared it. Those who have prepared should remember at least. Those who have not prepared may not remember. At least those who have prepared should remember. Okay. That is done in one way. Now we will do that same personality analysis, keeping these 5 points. So that's why this intrinsic being is the central dimension of this chapter. So here he gives those 5 ideas for us to introspect and find out where we stand, taking inspiration from his position. If he is going to be like this, from there we try to see us in contrast. In contrast, we understand. There, pure analytical one, Sattva means this, Rajas means this, Tamas means this, Sattvic action, Rajasic action, Tamasic action, Sattvic knowledge, Rajasic knowledge, Tamasic knowledge, etc. All that we did. Now we keep him as a mirror to see our reflection there. So after reading this, don't go out and start looking out for people. Right? This is not to judge others, please. This is not to find out who are, okay, now let's find out. Now that I have got those 5 points, with these 5 points, let me see, is he a realized person? Is he a realized person? Is she realized? This is not the way to use this topic. This topic is going to be studied from this angle only. That's why in the beginning itself, he says, you cannot understand that state. If you cannot understand that state, then why explain it? Right. This explanation is not to give you the knowledge about him, keeping him as a reference point to give you the knowledge of yourself. So where you stand in your inner being. There should have been an improvement. Suppose if you say, if you know improvement, sir, don't worry. We are all in the same boat. Okay, so we can travel together. And in section C also, part C also, he does the same thing. Last chapter, again, he will give pointers. This is how the book is designed. Every part, every section, end part, he gives a check. Quality control. Then in section 2, again quality control, last. Part C, essence of Vedanta, also he does the same thing in the last chapter. So it's not that it is enough, but it gives a good idea, right? Start with his intrinsic being. Yes.
New book, page 239, his intrinsic being. A self-realized person has merged with the supreme reality. He manifests divine characteristics, displays exceptional power, bears universal love, possesses boundless knowledge, enjoys absolute self-sufficiency, revels in total fulfillment. His power. Selfish activity has limited power. If you work with ego and egocentric desires, if your actions are directed towards personal gains, your work becomes limited, lacks efficiency, dynamism. Drop your selfishness. Renounce your egoistic tendency. Pitch up a higher goal in life, a nobler cause, an ideal beyond your self centered interests. Let your activities be directed to the set ideal. Let your work turn impersonal. Your actions then become efficient, dynamic. They produce results. You command power, strength. Let an employee approach his employer for a personal favor with a selfish desire to fulfill. He hesitates, falters, fumbles. He lacks strength to put forth his case. Let the same person take up a common cause to serve the interest of his fellow employees. He then approaches the boss with a higher purpose, with no personal motive in it. His impersonal attitude provides him courage and strength. His action becomes powerful, his effort fruitful. Apply this principle in life. Annihilate your ego. Get rid of your little self. You gain power and strength. Your activity assumes infinite proportions. That determines the power of a self-realized person. In the invocation to the Gita, a verse describes the power of the spiritually evolved. It makes a mute speak, a lame scale mountains.
The first point he gives is his power. Now, his power immediately don't say, think, he will have some mystical power. He will say the whole thing will change. And he'll bring something from air. He will start floating. Not those things, please. Now, we have a very weird idea of power. Or we think, he is like, we see, Hanuman carrying mountain and flying, like that. We also think, if I start chanting Hanuman Chalisa, I will also get that strength like Hanuman. Once I realize I will also become like that. I will also become big like him and strong like him and power, become so powerful. First, have power to influence your wife. Then you can talk about all those things. அதுவே முடியல. Power. His activity has unlimited power. There is tremendous power in his activity. And a fascinating idea. See, all those 5 points where, 5 germs like, you can, it's universal. This is fantastic ideas. There is no power, meaning there is no energy in action. Now, in our selfish activity has limited power. Straight away it says selfish activity has a limited power. There's no power with this selfish, self-centered, egocentric activities. Why? How? Because self-centered, selfish activities drain the mental energy. See, any physical action will drain physical energy. Okay. Now, sometime back, one person sent me a picture of a cyclist. After their victory, you see their legs. Scary to look at. What condition that is. For 3 days, the fellow cannot even get up. So the whole thing is so painful, so exhausting it is. Physically, when you do action, body will get tired and fatigued. We are not saying that you can infinitely keep functioning physically. That is not possible. See, now here what we are discussing is energy getting drained at the mental level, at the thought level. Mind loses its energy to action. How? There are 2 sources through which the mind loses its energy. Through the past or the future. When the mind switches to the past or the mind switches to the future while performing activity is the classical way of losing energy to perform action. This action is getting executed in the present. But mind by nature can never understand, can never stay in the present. Because as far as mind is concerned, present doesn't exist. Present is not there for mind. Presence of mind is just a word we use. Okay, but for mind and presence, present can never go together. Mind always keeps switching between the past, future, past, future. And what is past and future? Past and future are the same thing. There is no difference. Or the difference is just a matter of little detail. That's it. What is it that you consider as future? Is always connected to your past, isn't it? What do you think of future? Better future. Okay. Better future means better with reference to your past, isn't it? So, what is future? Future is nothing but corrected, improvised, bettered past. What is future for you? What is your concept of future? Well-settled life. What is your concept of a well-settled life? Oh, they are all well-settled, sir. My other house, that servant was telling me. They are well-settled, sir. Say, no, well-settled. Idea of his well-settled means he has a single bedroom house. If you have a single bedroom house, you are well-settled in life as far as he is concerned. That's how you will see in all this idea, all these world cultures, you read their concept of heaven. Every culture had an idea of heaven, right? Study what is their concept of heaven. Their concept of heaven is connected to their past. Their, how they have been living in the past. There they have been living in a miserable condition. No water. Water is so scarce there. So their concept of heaven is what? There will be a fresh, pure water spring there. Very nearly it will be flowing. If you tell that to a person who is living near Ganges, he will not be inspired at all. He has a different concept of heaven. So, every idea that we have is past, future, past, future, past, future. And your mind keeps on rambling between the two, moving between these two things. That movement drains your energy. Yes. At times, the mind comes to the present. Sir, do you mean to say that mind will never come to the present? Yes. There are times where the mind comes to the present. Only when the mind is needed to perform action. When the situation demands the mind's presence, then the mind comes. Like when you're driving, your mind is not in driving at all actually. But the moment you see a stray dog running across, suddenly you become alert. And then what happens? You scold the stray dog, you stupid dog, and then you continue driving. After a few seconds, what happens to the mind again? It's not there on the road. It's not in driving at all. It keeps moving. This is how the mind keeps you engaged. Yes. How, sir? How all it does? I'll give you 2 points. The first point we have to understand, his power is the mind loses its energy. That's the first point. How it loses? Past, future, and it never comes to the present. Sometimes when it comes to the present, because of the demanding nature of the situation, it comes to the presence and it is a pressing situation. Therefore, the mind will come to the present. The moment it comes to the present, it will get excited. In that excitement, again, energy drained. Energy gets lost. So, mind always loses its energy. Therefore, actions performed doesn't have that full power. It becomes an important action. Actions loses its potency. Why? That's what he is explaining. Reasons he is giving. The first one is, says the mind's nature being selfish. When you are selfish, you would not have that much of power in your why energy gets drained. That is a common factor. Okay, remember that. For all the points, common denominator is wastage of energy, draining energy, losing energy. Therefore, action doesn't have the power. This is the basic point. And now he is giving reasons. He just points. The first thing he is referring to is the actions when they are performed with selfish interest, then you cannot. Now, what is the meaning of action performed with a selfish interest? Selfish action. That's what he says, no? Selfish activity has limited power. What is a selfish activity? You have knowledge, you have skill. Swamiji gives a classic example. This is one of a, it's a real instance. Happened one, says. A top surgeon in Chennai who could not operate on his wife. And his assistants performed the surgery. Of course, it was a complicated surgery, I suppose. And she didn't survive. And he would always say, see this man. He had that knowledge, but then why he was not able to operate? Why he was not able to do? He had that skill set. He had that knowledge. But the moment you put the wife on the table, not able to do anything. How is it that he is able to perform surgeries with others? This is where we get a clue. What is selfish? Because we understand selfishness at a very, very, very fundamental level. See, those things are all over. Now you need to understand. We have come to, the end of practical Vedanta. So you need to give a higher definitions for selfishness. If you are going to be holding on to the very basic definition of selfishness, selfishness means what? Very, very basic definition of selfishness means at your cost, I fulfill my desires. That is called selfish. This is called this is elementary, understanding of idea of selfishness. Now, just because you pass elementary education doesn't mean you are an educated person. You see, like when we are doing in school, NSS, we had a scheme. Either you have to do voluntary work for 40 hours or get 4 people illiterates, teach them education. Literates. And the condition for a person to become a literate is he should be able to put his signature. Anyone who can put his signature is considered as a literate. So I caught hold of a fellow. His name was Ramu. I just have to teach him only 2 letters. I taught him only those 2 letters. I said Ra and Mu. Write Ra, Mu, done, go. I said, then bring another fellow. So, Mu. Again, so, Mu. Job done. Right. Then you get 3-4 fellows. Murugan, he is a very tough guy because he has to write 3 words. Oh my God, too much, man. This is not this is very, very elementary education doesn't mean you have become a educated person. You're just a literate. You can just read and write. That's about it. Doesn't make you an educated person. Educated person and a scholar. How an illiterate, a literate, educated, scholar. Now we are coming at the stage of not a scholar. We are coming to the stage of an educated person. Educated person's level of understanding of selfishness is different. Action I do. Why is it that he is able to perform surgery on others and not able to perform surgery on his wife? This is selfish. That's why he could not be saved. You say, what selfishness in that? And people get annoyed. What selfishness is there in him? You find selfish, this man? They'll say, yes. Why? Now the definition of selfishness is, with reference to other people, he has no botheration with reference to the consequence of the surgery. Whatever be the consequence of the surgery, that will not impact him in any way. Whereas the consequences of this surgery has a telling on his mind. This selfish action creates fear of losing. The fear of losing. Before you even commence the activity, if the consequence were to be unpalatable, my God, what will happen? Therefore, what? I can't perform. So, all that knowledge that he has, all that energy that he has, all that skill that he has developed, all that goes down the drain. Why? Because of the fear. From where the fear comes? Selfishness. What is selfishness, sir? The consequences impacts. So, first thing, what drains energy is selfishness. Then the second point he gives is the efficiency. Your action lacks efficiency, he says. Okay, here comes the question. Here we ask this question. Okay, what is efficiency? I rest now. What is efficiency in action? You call someone as very efficient one. Okay, it's not that it's not a very, very philosophical word and all those things. It is a common term which we use. He is very efficient, sir. Now, what is the meaning of efficiency? What is an efficient action? You can type actually. He'll say he's a very efficient fellow. You know why? Because he can do multitasking. They do, same time, he'll do this, he'll do that. Oh, she's so efficient. Sir, she'll be doing this, parallelly she is doing that, and parallelly she is doing that also. And my God, she is so dynamic, so efficient. We all believe we are all efficient, we are all dynamic. He says, you people lack efficiency, only he has efficiency. See, dynamism. He is dynamic. We believe we are efficient. He says, we lack efficiency. Now, this is how we have to pause, reflect, and go back. If you read it, you just read and go. You'll miss those points actually. That's why the advantage of classes. Okay, but when you read also, I can't be going with reference to every point. here in the book. Oh, here, first thing we see is this. We say, yeah, tax efficiency, dynamism. Okay, next. Drop your selfishness. Reduce your egocentric desires. Okay, sir, we will become unselfish now. What defines efficiency? What is a classical mark of efficiency? Don't say multitasking, because that is ruled out anyway. No idea. I can read. Sir, anyway, whatever answer we give, you are going to say wrong. One student, he says, the class, sir, anyway, whatever we say, you are going to say it is not. And you will prove it also. Why waste, okay, tell no. Now, what is efficiency? Meaning of efficiency. 100% result. He gets a result, sir. That's what it means. You give a task to that person, they will finish the task and produce a result. You give them that target of selling 100 units. They will sell 100 units. Not 101, not 99. 100 means 100. Perfect. 100% result. Right. I'm not saying wrong or anything. Okay. Just to think in terms of how we understand these terms which we use on a daily basis. It's not that these words are very scholarly words. These are all common words which are used by every one of us. Best of your ability. First of all, you should know what is your ability. We don't even know what is our ability. But all of us will say, I'm doing to the best of my ability only, sir. Correct. Efficiency. What is that efficiency? Output greater than input. Engineer, who's that? Bilani. I know, engineer. Only engineers speak like that. Input, output. Output greater than input. Right. Efficient. You see, efficiency means what we need to recognize here is there is no possibility for you to understand efficiency with reference to perfect action. You see the loop there, right? We are discussing about power for action. In action, there is no such thing called perfect action. No action can be called as a perfect action. Right? Which one we can call as a perfect one? Perfect action, sir. There is no such thing called perfect action. But still we say the way in which you perform that action, we say it is efficient. In efficiency, what we refer to is effortlessness. When an action is performed effortlessly, that's called efficient action. This engine functions very efficiently. Means what? Seamless functioning means least resistance. More the effort means more the resistance. More the resistance, more effort. So efficient action means action where there is no resistance or least resistance. No resistance is absolute efficiency. Least is efficient action, dynamic action. So perfection, when we say this effort of yours to perform that action will increase. You got to really work more to do. Like we do in treadmill, no? You see, in treadmill, you are walking, right? You are increasing the speed. What are you doing actually? When you're increasing there, and then we have one thing called recline, inclination. You just keep it. A point would come where it will look like you are walking like this. You're walking on a wall. Where you have just walked about a kilometer, you sweat. Why? Maximum resistance. Maximum resistance you get, maximum effort. Effortless action means resistant-less action. Now, what is the resisting factor in you to perform action? Now, we all think resistance is there, sir. Resistance is from where? All of us will say resistance is in the world. World is resisting. Sir, I want to attend Vedanta class. Problem, you know what? They are not allowing. This is not happening. That is not happening. That is a time my company is fixing a conference call for me. Now, I've told them not to fix a conference call on Tuesday and Thursday. But still, I think they're deliberately doing it, sir. And as though you are doing you are one Vishwamitra performing one Havan, and those fellows are like, Rakshasas wanting to throw dirt. You may be Vishwamitra. Why are you making them, Rakshasas? We think what? Resistance is from the world we think. That is why everywhere, you remember a few years back, we had this idea of playing music, soft music in the offices. Remember that philosophy came? That, somebody recommended that. Why? Once you are playing that soft music in the background, there is not much of a mental one. All things get so relaxed and everyone can function effectively then. Then the people will be able to do their work more and they can do better. So for that, what are we going to do this? So from where this is coming, this is what government can give you this, government can do that, neighbor, this one, that one, all that. But Vedanta says emphatically, resistance to action comes from within. It's not from the world. World will not resist. Then what is resisting your action? The resistance for your action is your own selfishness, your own desires, your own qualities. No doubt, body will get tired, but we are talking about the mental fatigue, mind getting fatigued. Why? Resistance, which reduces the efficiency. This is the second point. The first point, selfishness. Second point is efficiency. Your action loses efficiency, dynamism. The third point he gives is the actions gets converted mechanical. Mechanically, you do action. Maybe wondering, what is this mechanical action, sir? Mechanical action means you go for walking in the park, you see people there, you smile at them, After some point, they smile back at you. You smile at them. They smile, they smile, smile. Smiling happens for a few months. After that, you say what? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You are making that sound good morning. Do you mean it? In the schools, every teacher walks into the classroom, all the kids will stand up and say what? Good morning, ma'am. They'll say. Good afternoon, ma'am. They'll say. Do they mean good? Huh? That's called a mechanical action. Mechanical. You just do things without meaning it at all, actually. We don't even understand what is the meaning of that, but we are supposed to do it. We're supposed to say things. So he says, actions gets performed. How? Mind converts actions into mechanical ones. You see, that is the technique of the mind. That is why we don't recommend practice. In Vedanta, we never recommend practice because practice makes man perfect. Say, correct. Perfectly you can perform actions mechanically. You would just keep doing that action without any fault. Body will be engaged in action. The mind will continue to wander in its own world. Gain proficiency. It allows you to be in the present for a period of time till it can gain proficiency in that action. Once it gains proficiency in that action, after that it becomes mechanical. That is why once in a year you go to Tirupati and see Balaji, you get so inspired. Whereas the man who is standing next to Balaji day in and day out is thinking of when his time is going to get over. Because the next floor has to come. He is supposed to come by 6 o'clock. It's already 7:45. He has not come yet. I don't know why. I have other jobs. This is what he is standing there and thinking. You are standing in the queue and screaming what? Govinda, Govinda. Hey, these people are pushing us here. Jargandi, Jargandi, even though the court order is there that you should not push people and all that. Still what they are doing. They're not doing it. I'm just giving an example, okay? Don't go out and say he said that and all that. Okay. I'm just giving as an example. That's all. I don't know what they are doing and all that. Okay. And that man standing there is thinking of what? Why? But he is doing all that harati, this, that, everything they do perfectly. But all that is done unmindfully. Whereas you go there and stand, and our belief is what? You would appear like a better devotee than that man. Correct. If you are allowed to stand there for 10 minutes, what will you do? Huh? Imagine if you were to be allowed. After 10 minutes, I told those people, not there, Tirupati, another temple here in South. I said this, Perumal, saving go, he says. I said, I've done enough, saving go, sir. Let me go. The fellow is, no. Stand there. What's your problem? Stand. I said, it's too hot here. He said, no, I'm sweating already. I'm from Bangalore. I said, that's why stand there. I said, he's not understanding what I'm talking. I said, I see, for us, we have lived a life of very comfortably in Bangalore. From here, you go to Chennai. Even in bathroom, you need AC there. Otherwise, you can't survive there. It's too bad. So sweating it is. I said, Perumale, leave me here. Go inside that man and tell him to leave me. I said. Then, somehow he allowed me to go. From there, I escaped. I went to Tayar Sannidhi. There, another problem. There, that man says, nothing doing. You just be here. That's all. You are not leaving. I said, I don't know why they asked me to stand there. He says, just stand there. Because first, when I went to this one, I went with this fellow. With Thaya Survey, I said, I know that place. I know I will go and come back. Because if he comes, they know that, he is a big man. So they'll make him stand on all that. I went there without this man. I don't know what they thought of me. They pulled me inside and made me stand there. I said, stand. First 2 minutes, I saw that, Sridevi, Mahalakshmi, Sridevi, Mahalakshmi, Sridevi, Mahalakshmi. Okay, now what? Start looking everywhere. After that, what? More than 5 minutes, we don't know what to do there. Now this man is standing there. Remember, that's the nature of mind. What it will do, till you gain proficiency in that particular action, where there is a lot of desire, it will appear to be staying in the present. The moment you gain that proficiency, after that, the mind will switch over and it will convert that action into mechanical. Action will continue. But there is no participation of the mind. Mind has no participation. And this we think as skillfully we are performing action. That's where multitasking idea, this one, that one, and all gets evolved. How I have converted this into mechanical. Now I don't need my mind to be there. Now I can engage it somewhere else. Now again, convert that also into mechanical. This you can do anywhere in anything. That is why in all the rituals, they give so many breaks in between. They cut. You are doing the puja. Suddenly they will say, do one pranayama and come back. To continue that, you do one achamanam, come back. They give a break to everything. Everything is broken. Why? When you break that, the chances of you converting that into mechanical is so tough. That's why so much of restrictions, so much of rules. This needs to be touched with this hand. That can be touched with that hand. This has to be taken first and then that. I said, sir, this is close now, take this first. No. First you have to touch that only, touch this. If you touch the other, you know what's going to happen. Point is you have to touch all that. No. You say, correct. Then touch in this. No. This has to be touched first there, then here, then here, then here, then there. So much of rules and regulations were given so that why those things were given for us is not to give the chance to the mind to convert actions into mechanical. When actions becomes mechanical, there is no power in your action. So first point, energy drained. Second point, selfishness. Third point, efficiency. Fourth point is mechanical. Then he gives another point here. Now these things you got to dig out and find. Okay. Another one that he gives here is the a very good idea. When your actions gains power, these actions are powerful. Why? Because of this. Now I'm doing it in the other way around. Why? Our actions lack power. And he has removed all those things. Therefore, his actions are powerful. This is how we are studying the whole idea. Okay. The next point he gives is this. Yes. His contentment is in the performance of action. When you are satisfied, when you are happy, when you are contented, pleased in the performance of action, not on the consequences. The consequences of action do not relate to his mental state. See, that is the critical point. If the consequences were to be connected to his mental state, then those consequences will affect his mind. but his actions are contented. What is that? Actions performed as a swadharmic field, the swadharmic action. So people always ask this question to me. The moment we use the word swadharma, immediately people ask, how do I know my swadharma, sir? How do I know a swadharma? First, understand what is a swadharmic action. Swadharmic action means actions performed derive satisfaction from the action. The action itself gives him immense satisfaction, not the consequence. The moment I said that, my wife told me, now I understood, cooking is not my swadharma. Yes, cooking, the pleasure is only when you praise it. You see, only when people eat there and say, very nice it is, superb. You make a dish and send, I have to immediately send a reply back. Oh, it is so nice here. I don't understand what is nice in that. Same thing, just give a different name. That's all. Ragi muddu and sambar we prepare, no? Same thing. This lady, very smart. Now what she has done? She prepared that same ragi muddu, made it into small balls, and put that in that same sambar and sent it. And she coined a fantastic name for that. Ragi pasta, I have sent it for you. Please tell me how good it is. I said, what? Ragi pasta? Because I don't like this ragi muddu sambar. It's not my, I didn't, maybe I don't know how to eat that or didn't taste properly perhaps. I said, what is this? Pleasure is there. The pleasure, is it in the action or in the appreciation? The consequences of it. Anywhere you derive satisfaction from the performance of action, you are in the swadharmic field. If your pleasure is dependent on the consequence, you are in the paradharmic field. If I am going to be speaking on Vedanta, speaking should give me pleasure. Not to you people appreciating it or not appreciating it, you understanding it, not understanding it. It is helpful to you, it is not being helpful to you, is not the point at all. The point is, these ideas, entertainment of these ideas gives me pleasure. Listening to that gives me pleasure. I am in swadharmic field. Not, okay, I attended Vedanta class today. I attended his power. Now immediately you need to see how I can use that in my life. In what way this has made my life better. That is why we don't take the statistics. If, we don't ask for feedbacks. We do programs and all those things. People ask feedback. Give feedback. They say, what feedback we can ask? Because the satisfaction, what I'm supposed to be getting, I have already derived. From where? In the action, you should get it. When you perform actions in the swadharmic field, there is immense joy. Those actions become so powerful. That's what he means by saying the activity assumes infinite proportions. No, I prefer to take not like this actually. I prefer to take sentence by sentence. This, this portion should be studied like that. Sentence by sentence, you got to study. Yes. Assumes infinite proportions. What's the meaning of action assuming infinite proportion? Very, very interesting ideas. I'm just giving some clues for you people to reflect. If you don't reflect along with the book, by reading the book or listening to the class will not help you. It's not going to be of any change to you. These actions become so powerful. Why? When actions are so effortlessly performed, it is so attractive. No? Like, Federer playing, Nadal playing. Both are great players, tennis. But you see Federer playing and you see Nadal playing. You feel like telling Nadal, relax, isn't it? Take rest. Give him little more rest, man. But Federer playing looks like what? Messi playing football. It looks like what? Effortless. Muhammad Ali, boxing. See, there's old, videos are there. Watch that. It looks like, this man is it's a heavyweight boxing championship. You see, it's not just a casual one. One punch from the other fellow is enough to knock you down. And how he is standing there. I used to admire, the whole world should, you cannot get a fellow like this, Vivian Richards. He will score a duck only. Doesn't make any difference. The way he walks in to the crease, the way he stands, he scores. Effortless. Not that, whacking, this, that. Just looks, just a flip, like all flies. Effortless action. When your actions are powerful, means they are so effortless, so effective, so attractive. Therefore, attractive. So, powerful means his actions are so attractive. And he alone achieves the fruit of action. The real fruit of action, who achieves? Only he achieves. One who gets there, he gets the actual benefit of action. What is the benefit of action? Rest is the benefit of action. While performing action, he looks so restful. Now we take rest post-performance of action. After completion of action, we take rest. Waiting period for the result to come. But for him, the very performance of action is so. Why our case is not said? His whole life is lived so mechanical. So mechanical. They ask. Now some houses you go, no? They ask you to eat. Would you like to have coffee or tea? The way they ask you understand, you know that please say no. You see, you're supposed to say no. But they ask you what? My job is to ask you, but you are supposed to say what? Not to make any choice. You are supposed to say, no, I don't want anything. And you don't feel like having also anything in that place. Why? Because it's so mechanical. Why? The thought behind that action, the presence of, the person should be there, no? Isn't it? The personality should be there, no, behind the action. When the presence of personality is absent, the action is continuing. In absence, the action continues. That's called the mechanical. Like in colleges, people ask me, I don't take attendance in colleges. I said, why you don't take attendance? I said, when I take attendance, what do you answer? Present, sir. Present, sir. I know you are fully absent. When you're absent, you will say what? Present. Present. Where are you present? Is your personality behind the action? And you can see that, this is where those masters, living example alone can understand. Even if they live, you should have eyes to see. That is a different thing, you see. But, They are there. That's why they give examples of lot of rules and regulations they put for eating. For eating, there are rules. For bathing, there are rules. That so much wiser, because actions that you perform gets converted by mind mechanical. See, there is no action is not mechanical. Remember, people always say, mechanical actions. It's not mechanical action. The actor is mechanical. The actor's absence makes that action mechanical. Because what should be behind that is absent. When you go to a temple, who should be behind there? Not a sportsman. Devotee should be there. See, when I see my wife, husband should be there. Imagine son standing. When I go to my mother, son should be standing, not husband. The husbandhood of me should go backside. What should come in the front is son. The moment I see my teacher, the student should come first. Now, suddenly I bring my business personality, managing director. Personality comes, I go. That's a very wrong idea. That's called mechanical action. That will not have that power. That personality connected to that scenario, that action should be backing it. Now, that's what we mean. Otherwise we think, sir, without mind, how can you perform any action? Mind should be there. No, say, correct. But what aspect of personality should be backing that particular action should stand there. When you go to a temple, devotee should be there, not an artist. If you're standing as an artist, they're finished. No, you then it will not match. There's a mismatch. In his life, he has. That gives him tremendous courage and strength. And finally, he gives a fascinating example from, quotes the scripture, authority, quotes the invocation of the Bhagavad Gita, Gita Dhyanam, Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langayate Girim. That's what he is referring to here, as it makes mute speak. The lame scale mountains, obstacles. He can overcome any big obstacles. Just a lame person can overcome those obstacles. A cripple can overcome those obstacles. How? This is what it means. The power in his personality. Why? Because there is no result whatsoever. He is not concerned for the result. He is not going to be working based on the result, consequences of it. That's why we give examples from the nature. Rose give fragrance. Why? This is called Swadharma. When someone, Swadharmic action means, if someone were to ask you, if you ask the question, why are you doing it? You should not have an answer for that. Then you are in Swadharmic field. Many times you will say, correct, sir. But be careful. You should go blackout. Why I am doing it? What else I can do? Do I have a choice not to do it? Then helplessly I am doing it. That's called Swadharma. A rose gives fragrance. That's a Swadharma of rose. Sun gives light. Swadharma of sun. Sugar gives sweetness. Swadharma of sugar is that. That's the nature of it. Same way, this action that you are performing should be your nature. You just express yourself without any. Now, others may do whatever they want. Like a rose is there. Now what you do with the rose, sir? One fellow will take the rose and crush it nicely and make a gulkan. Another fellow will take that same rose and offer it at the feet of the Lord. Another fellow will take the rose and give it to his beloved. Another fellow can take the rose and put it on a dead body. Rose will give the same fragrance to all those people. It doesn't make any difference. Why? Consequence of the action doesn't make any difference. The rose's pleasure is in blooming and giving that fragrance. It just blooms and gives that fragrance. That's it. That's the power. That is a real power in action. We'll see more in the next class.